All right, everybody, man, welcome, welcome. We are here at it again. The whole goal of this is to give you guys confidence, especially if you haven't had a lot of wholesale deals, if you're new to real estate investing, um, just to hear people's stories, people that maybe it's good to hear the people, the Grant Cardones and the Max Maxwells and the people that are doing, tons of deals and making millions of dollars a year. But for me, I know when I first started, the biggest thing for me was just to be able to hear someone who was like still new in the game, still fresh, and kind of hear their story because I could connect with them just a little bit better than someone who was already there. They had already arrived. These people are still grinding. They're still working. And when I started to put my, think about it, the people that were, that I've been in contact with and have been in throughout our course, man, this gentleman right here has been one of the first people that pops in my mind because I know his work ethic. I know how hard he works, and I know what he had to do to get to where he's at. So without further ado, man, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, where you're at, where you're wholesaling out of.
Hey, how's it going? So my name's Leban. I'm 27, born and raised in Atlanta, and I'm currently wholesaling in Atlanta. I've been wholesaling for almost about a year now.
Nice, nice. So he's in my backyard. I'm not from Atlanta. I just live in Atlanta, just like most people in Atlanta. You're one of the few people that are from Atlanta. But in my backyard, and you're still closing deals, right?
Yep, trying, man. Just trying to be more consistent.
There you go, man. So it's even if you're in an area where it's really saturated like we are, you can still do this. So tell everybody a little bit about your story, man, and how you got into real estate and how that all came about.
Yeah, so I started, I believe it was last summer. That's when I really went wholesale and really piqued my interest. So a little bit about me. I grew up around real estate. My dad is currently he's a landlord, so he's been buying properties back when the market crashed back in '07, '08, '10. That's when he was buying properties dirt cheap. So in terms of like a little bit of fixing and being a landlord and dealing with tenants, like I'm pretty familiar with that.
Okay.
I wasn't too interested in at the time because I was in school then. But after I graduated, started working, that's when real estate kind of piqued my interest. So I went on YouTube, came across your boy Max Maxwell. Watched a couple of his videos, just started watching his videos religiously, him and other people as well. And so that's when wholesaling kind of piqued my interest.
Awesome, awesome. So I know you had your first deal, but your first deal wasn't a wholesale deal, right?
Nope.
What happened with that deal?
So yeah, this is when I was back in last summer. So I was on and off with wholesaling, and I kind of took it more serious towards the end of last year. And so one thing I started implementing was starting to go to tax auctions, foreclosure auctions, and
Okay.
just looking at the lists and trying to connect with some of the buyers up there. So one strategy I started implementing is with Fulton County, the tax list is sent out like 2 weeks or a month before the tax auction. So one thing that clicked in my head is like, why when I reach towards the owners who actually are about to get foreclosed, talk to them first before the house goes on auction. Because I try to attend those auctions, man. People they outbid like crazy,
Oh, yeah.
and you're in Atlanta, so it's the same 5-6 people that are buying up all these houses and outbidding people. So one strategy I did, I noticed there's one house in the neighborhood where my dad was investing in, so I felt kind of confident in it. I reached out to the owner, and mind you, this was 10 days before the house was going to go on auction. So I
Okay.
reached out to the owner. They're only behind 5,000 in back taxes, but it's currently abandoned home. It belonged to the owner's father. It's passed down to him. So I reached out to him, cold called him, and got the deal under contract. I could have actually wholesaled it, but I was looking at more long-term buy and hold game, and being that my dad's pretty familiar with that area, so we went 50-50. Bought the house for roughly around 20,000. Could have made a nice wholesale deal off of it, but I was looking at the long term, and right now we're currently rehabbing it at the moment.
Nice. It's nice. So for you guys don't know, there's buy and hold investors, there's fix and flip investors, right? There's different there's short-term rental investors. So there's different type of investors. So if you have, and if you're aware of, how to utilize these different strategies, you can say, okay, this house is good for this type of investment. This house is good for this type of, and you can kind of start to push them off or hold on to them, based off of what type of property it is and what type of investment strategy you want to use. So you specifically wanted to get some of that mailbox money coming in, where that money is coming in month after month after month. And that's what you did with that first property.
Definitely. And I know the area is going to appreciate eventually. So I definitely want to capture all that equity and and just
course,
definitely
yeah.
just try to.
And, you know, you get the depreciation with the tax, you know, during when it comes to taxes and the appreciation of the market once it goes up. So, you know, there's so many benefits to that, so many benefits. So
Definitely.
that was your first like real estate investment
Mhm.
deal. That wasn't your first wholesale deal. So
Nope.
how did you, because at this point, you know, your father does real estate. He's been doing real estate for a while,
Mhm.
but he's not a wholesaler, right? He
Nope.
doesn't know anything about wholesaling.
Nope.
So the son became the teacher, right? So how did
Yeah.
that plan out?
So I mean, my father wasn't too familiar about wholesaling, but as I explained it to him, he kind of got familiar towards it because he has other wholesalers reaching out to him, adding him to the buyers list because they see he's a big time buyer in that specific neighborhood. So he was kind of familiar with the concept. And so really, what got me my first wholesale deal, I believe I was actually on one of T-Rob's, Tony the Closer, one of his lives,
Yep.
and he was shouting out people, asking what city they're from. I said Atlanta. He did mention that, you know, there's some big time buyers and wholesalers in the Atlanta area, and your name came across, Tommy Holt Jr. That's when I added you on Instagram, messaged you right away. You responded right away, and we were able to set up like a quick 30-minute Zoom info call. Ended up lasting about an hour and a half, and you just started dropping info knowledge. Like you weren't trying to sell me anything. You did mention that you had a course, but you were mostly going over the benefits of the course and how it can help first-time wholesalers or people who are trying to get into wholesaling. And you did mention it's not just specifically wholesaling, specifically a real estate course, a real estate investing course. That's what really got me interested into as well.
Yeah.
So that's when I started talking to you. Yep.
Yeah, man. So that process, you reaching out. I remember that conversation. I was driving. I think I was on the way to an appointment or something like that. I remember being in the car driving and speaking with you, man. And yeah, we talked for a good hour. By the way, if you guys are watching this now, we don't. I can't afford to do that right now. I just don't have the time to do that anymore. Now things have, you know, we still do the calls. We still take calls, but they definitely have to be a little more scheduled for that to happen. So, but it was a really good call, man. And a lot of people, a lot of times when I get on calls with certain individuals, it helps me just as much as it helps them, right? And now I remember your calls distinctly really helping me just as much as hopefully I helped you as well. But you got into the course. What I liked about it is that you took action. A lot of people, they think about it, they ponder on it, they just, let me ask this person, let me ask my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my wife, my husband, let me ask everybody else who's broke and not doing it, right?
Yep.
We ask everybody else who's not doing real estate at that level and see what their opinion is. That makes real good sense. But you actually took action and did it. And so you got into the course, and how did that help you with maybe putting the pieces together? Because at this point, you already, you know, Max does a really good job of giving a lot of free information out and showing people, you know, these different aspects. But how did that getting the course and having it put in, you know, logical order help you get to the next deal?
I mean, like when I first entered your course, like you had a whole bunch of modules in it, and I know this is very helpful. One thing I was struggling was getting a contract or seeing how a contract's set up, and I know in your module you actually provide that contract assignment fee, assignment contract as well as buy and sell contract as well as JV contract. And during those calls, you actually go over it. And the fact that the main reason why I actually signed up for the course is really to have access to you, access to a big time wholesaler in the same city as me. Seeing that if you can do it, I can do it as well. So also holding me accountable too. We meet twice a week on the Zoom info calls, and as well as talking to other individuals there, also starting their journey or people are a little further ahead. So it kind of gave me the comfort in joining it and just taking action.
Yeah, the twice a week calls I think are really great because it helps build confidence. A lot of times, as you know, we'll do role playing and stuff like that, and you can actually practice before you go out to the field, right? And really talk with real. So how does that help you when it comes to now your first deal? Before you get the deal, you're sitting or you're speaking with this individual. How did that play out? What did that look like?
In terms of my first contract.
Yeah, your first wholesale contract.
Yeah, so I was driving for dollars in a neighborhood I was pretty familiar with. It was an up-and-coming neighborhood area. It's not too far where I first bought my first investment property. So as I was driving for dollars, I came across this one property, and I saw an individual that was actually outside. So I went out, asked a question like, hey, are you the owner of this property? It turned out he was actually the landlord, and he was kind of a little bit fed up with his tenant, but he did mention that he was actually looking to sell his property. And so we just went out and started negotiating. You know, I was asking like, hey, so how much?
Hold up.
Yeah,
You were driving for dollars. I just want to get this right. You
yeah,
were driving for dollars, and you saw this property, and you saw somebody outside of the property. You saw,
yep,
and you parked the car. You literally just parked the
yep,
car and got out and spoke with him.
yeah. So I spoke to him. I just spoke to him,
How
taking
hard
action.
was that?
It wasn't hard. I mean, I was a little bit nervous at first, but you know, at this point, it's like, you know, I got to take action. Like, what's the worst you can tell me? Worst case scenario, I would have just learned more information on that property.
Correct.
Yeah,
I love that,
yeah,
man. I love that because that's when you think about it. When you just think about the mechanics of it, it's literally pulling the car over,
simple.
turning the car off,
Hmm.
getting out and walking. It's not difficult, but man,
Nope.
sometimes that fear of people saying no is such a hard
Oh
thing.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
man, kudos to you for doing that because a lot of people wouldn't. But again,
Yeah.
taking action, you now are a little bit more confident because you understand a little bit more of the game there. And
Hmm.
so you got down and he said he was interested in selling it. And then what happened after that?
We just started negotiating, and then we came to agreement with a price. I know he first wanted 55. I was able to bring it down to 50, and already knowing more information on that area, I know it could easily be a sale. So I get it for 50. I know I can wholesale it easily for 55.
Nice,
So
nice.
so that and I ended up finding a buyer through one of my dad's connections. One of his friends, who actually did mention to us that he was looking for homes because he sees like me and my dad are actually out here doing real estate up here in Atlanta, and he did mention like, hey, next time you find a home, just contact me and I'm ready to buy. Like he was a serious cash buyer. So I got under contract. I think this took a little less than 10 days up until the closing table.
Nice. Wow. In 10
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
And how
10
much did
days,
you make off that deal?
5,000.
Five. So in 10 days, you went from finding the property, and 10 days later, you had $5,000 in as far
Yep,
as in your bank account or
yep,
on a check.
yep, in the check. Yep.
Man, like this, where can we do this? Like where else are people doing this legally, right? Like this
Nowhere,
is
nowhere.
crazy. You didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't repair the house, right?
Nope,
You didn't fix the roof, you didn't paint nothing, you didn't do any of that stuff.
nope.
Yeah, so it's just no money out of your pocket.
Hmm.
All right, because
Nope,
I
nothing.
I ask everybody this because because we tell people, and I tell people, listen, you can do real estate with no money, with no credit, right?
Right,
You can, and
right,
then a lot of people just don't believe that it's true. But
right.
when it happens to you that first time, it completely changes. Am I right? Like it changes the way you look
Exactly.
at things, right?
It just really opened up my mindset. It gave me more confidence. Like, hey, if I can at least do this once a month or once every other month while working a full-time job, it's definitely doable.
Absolutely. And then
Hmm.
if you do once a month, I mean, let's just say on the low end, you make an
Yeah.
extra $5,000 a month. How much, like, that changes most people's lives,
Oh yeah.
right? They can make an
Oh
extra
yeah.
5K a month
Oh yeah.
in that same amount of time frame. That changes people's lives, man. So
Hmm.
what did it look? How many deals have you done so far altogether?
Altogether, I did 3. I'm working on a few more, trying to get more on the contract, and I'm definitely trying to repeat that early success I had this year.
So altogether in 3, and how long?
In 3 months. 3 months.
3 months. So
Yeah, yeah. I got spoiled my first time, man. Like the first 3 months, I just started getting deals
so
back to back to back.
what did that total up in all total 3 months?
All total up to 16,000
$16,000 in
in
3
three
months.
months. Yeah.
Wow. From going from, all right, this is step one of wholesaling to
Hmm.
get to the closing table 3 times in 3 months. That's amazing,
Three
man.
times. Yep. Yep.
And a lot of people they don't know that I used to be a police officer, and I used to make maybe it was like $2,800. So if you round it up to 3,000 a month. So
Yeah.
in that same amount of time, I would have made same amount of time working 40+ hour work weeks. You
Hmm.
know, I would have made $9,000. And you made 16, and you're not getting shot at.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. Like, but again, like your work ethic, I think is something that really sets you apart from a lot of people. A lot of people quit.
Oh yeah.
Tell me why you didn't quit. Like, what makes you different? Do you think that like you're like, man, I'm just this is what
Hmm.
I want to do. I'm just gonna go after it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I started a year ago, like I was really on and off because like I'll have some streaks where I was really on it, and then I had weeks where I just like kind of closed the book and just like what? Because I mean, I was talking to sellers. It's just I just had that analysis paralysis where I didn't know what to do next, And so
Gotcha.
I guess like having the confidence in joining the course, networking with more people, and seeing that there's people out here actually closing deals in my area and outside of my area. It's like if they can do it, why can't I? So I
Yeah.
I, I just put my head down and just like, hey, if I'm gonna fail, let me fail hard, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
And once you've done it once, twice, three times in your case,
Mm-hmm.
you see that okay, there's a process to it, there's a rhythm to it,
Oh, yeah.
and the deals start to just happen. So what's in the
Mm-hmm.
future for you, man? What are you looking to do? What's in the future for you now?
I mean, right now is really like I'm trying to outsource some of my work. Right now, I got another friend working with me where we're splitting the deals. I'm giving a percentage wise. He's making calls for me, and
Okay.
I'm just trying to scale it up, man. I realize the more people I reach, the more people I meet, the more meetings I have, the more deals I'll have. The more deals I have, the more deals will close. It's a numbers game.
Numbers
So
game.
number games. I know I can't do it myself the way I'm scaling, so it's just outsourcing, meeting the right people, always learning, networking, and
Yeah,
then
I think a couple of weeks ago we had a coaching call where I broke down my business and I basically
mm-hmm.
said, this is what I do. This is how now I'm in a position where I can put people in place. I can pretty much fire myself from certain positions in my own company so that
Exactly.
put people in place so they can do the things that maybe are eating up a lot of my time. Because the whole
Mm-hmm.
goal of this thing, the whole goal of what you're doing, you're not just doing this just like some people will work for a company for the next 30 years and then you retire. You're
Mm-hmm.
doing this so you can shorten that time frame so
Oh
you
yeah.
can really living life the way you want to live life. And you can't do that
Oh
if
yeah.
you're in your business every
Mm-hmm.
single day, grinding like 12 hours a day. So the whole point of us hustling like this is to reap that reward, man, and create that
Exactly.
legacy for our families. So what in the grand scheme of like when you now look at it, now you've been through the course, you've been in the program for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the best benefit of going through that process?
Of going through the whole course,
Yeah,
or
and
or
then of course in the
okay.
coaching
Mm-hmm.
calls, like what do you think is the best benefit?
Yeah, man. It's just having someone to hold me accountable. Definitely. There's some weeks where it's tough, but knowing that I got the calls coming up twice a week, it really re-inspires me again and gets me going. Especially when I hear other success stories of people in the same class signing up contracts, closing deals. It's like like it really gets me into it. Like I can do it too, and
Nice,
just keep grinding, man.
man. Man, it's so important to have the right people around you and have
Oh
the
yeah,
right environment. Because when you see people doing it, it's
oh
just,
yeah,
man, like I can
crazy.
I can do this too. So awesome, man. Well, I'm gonna wrap this thing up, but I really want you to, before we end, give people one thing that you think that they should do like today. Like, what do you think they should do to get started? Like, what's the main thing you think that would push and catapult the person forward?
I mean, just don't be afraid to fail. Like one reason why it took me so long to get my first wholesale done was I was afraid of failure. I was afraid to sound dumb on the phone. I was afraid to meet the potential sellers, thinking like I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. But just go out there, fail early, learn from your mistakes. Definitely network, meet, talk to people who are doing deals out there, find out what they're doing, and just go from there, man. Just like it's a good analogy saying, shoot first, then aim. I
Mm,
was too busy trying. I was too busy trying to aim and get my first deal right.
yeah,
Um, so, and that's the reason why it took me so long. But one thing now, I advise everyone just go out there, fail early, learn from your mistakes, and just keep going.
awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great words of wisdom, man. Great words of advice. Appreciate you, man, taking the time out. Where can people find you? Like if they have a deal in the Atlanta area or wherever
Yeah.
you're at, where can they find you to send you their
Mhm.
deals?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Leban, Leban as in boy, AN underscore. So it's pretty easy. It's my first name underscore. You can find me on Instagram. You can reach out to me there. You can DM me there. And if you're trying to make money together in the Atlanta area, trying to join venture, or if you just want to get some more advice, and I definitely recommend join the E2E wholesaling course. Sure.
Awesome, man. Awesome, for sure, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
This wraps up another one, man. We're gonna make sure that we get all his information, put it underneath below. So if you want to reach out to him, you can do that. But once again, man, thank you so much, man. You definitely are inspiration. I love the T-shirt too, the cash flow
Yeah.
T-shirt. Um,
Cash flow.
that's right. So we
Yeah.
definitely, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, just hearing your story, it really makes me want to work harder too. So hopefully it inspires some other people as well.
Definitely, definitely.
All right, brother. Well, take care, man. Peace.
All right, peace.
Listen, men lie, women lie. I get it, but the numbers don't. It's evident that the course works. The only variable is you. For once in your life, take a chance on yourself. It's free. You have absolutely nothing to lose. It's free. Go ahead and fill out the information. Man, so many people have doubted you. So many people have said that you can't do it. This is your time to prove them wrong, and it's free. Put your information down below, fill out the short questionnaire, and we are going to tailor a strategy session that's absolutely free to make sure that you can succeed. Take a chance on yourself. Do it now.